First was Tituba, who had entertained the girls with her native stories, spells, and incantations. The second was Sarah Good, an old homeless beggar who went door to door and was known to mutter at those who would not give her alms. The third was Sarah Osborne, a widow who had married an indentured servant, much to the disapproval of town worthies, and who seldom went to church. It was not surprising that these marginal members of the community would consort with the devil. Warrants were sworn out, and the women were arrested on suspicion of witchcraft. Now investigators had solid information and suspects to work with. On March 1st, magistrates John Hathorne and Jonathan Corwin commenced hearings in the Salem Village Meeting House, converted for the purpose into a makeshift courtroom. The girls all confirmed that Sarah Good's spectral shape had attacked them. Under rigorous questioning, Goodies, for Goodwives, Good and Osborne denied being witches. Tituba, in an apparent effort to save herself, confessed to having been enticed by the devil, but she claimed she was no longer working for him. Following a similar tactic, Good claimed it was actually Osborne who was tormenting the children. But the astute investigators realized that if she knew this, it must mean that she was a witch too. The following week, the three suspects were sent to jail in Boston, 20 miles away, and the hearings continued. Each person the girls accused was brought in for examination, and most were sent to jail. Soon it was no longer just the marginal characters. Before the month was out, regular churchgoers had been called out, such as Rebecca Nurse. And still the girls were acting up, meaning the devil had taken firm hold in and around Salem. The situation had reached crisis proportions. It was as if a deadly disease was rapidly spreading and anyone could be a carrier. Martha Corey voiced public skepticism about the girls' credibility. Soon the girls saw her shape sitting on a beam above them in church, suckling a yellow bird from her hand. One of the girls, Mary Warren, named her mistress Elizabeth Proctor. Elizabeth's husband, John, was a prominent and upstanding farmer. Like Martha Corey, he did not believe in witchcraft. During Elizabeth's hearing, the girls called out his name. Under repeated questioning, Mary asserted he was a wizard. Outside the meeting house, Mary reportedly admitted that John Proctor was not a wizard and suggested that the girls' actions were a sport. Hearing this, some of the other girls accused her of being a witch. She was arrested, and under repeated formal questioning, declared that the Proctors were in fact wizard and witch. By now the investigation had grown so large that it had to be moved to the larger meeting house in Salem town, 8 miles away. Meanwhile, Sarah Osborne had died in prison, and Sarah Good gave birth to a baby who died in the jail, confirming suspicions of her evil soul. On May 31st, John Alden answered charges before the magistrates. He was 60 years of age, a well-respected sea captain and Indian fighter, and son of the celebrated lovers John and Priscilla Alden. He was among those who didn't believe in witchcraft, and had the temerity to suggest that a good beating would cure the girls of their fits. Soon after, they named him as the Master Wizard. The Court of Oyer and Terminer, formed to hear the cases of all those accused, consisted of 7 judges, all learned and respectable men. Governor Phipps appointed his deputy, William Stoughton, to preside as chief judge. In consultation, the judges decided on some key rules. Any witch who confessed would not be punished. This would both show mercy and encourage defendants to name the names of others who had practiced the black arts. And Stoughton consulted with the most prominent and expert clergymen throughout Massachusetts Bay before concluding that spectral evidence should be admitted. Thus was the court prepared for the appearance of its first defendant, Bridget Bishop. At 60 years of age, Bishop had buried 2 husbands, the second of whom she had been accused of bewitching before the current panic had broken out. But she had been acquitted on that charge. Now she was married to Edward Bishop, a successful sawmill proprietor. 5 girls had called out her name as one who had dreadfully afflicted them. Samuel Shattuck, who ran a dye house, testified that Goody Bishop brought to him sundry pieces of lace that were too small to be used for anything other than a poppet, similar to what we think of as a voodoo doll. And John and William Bly, doing work in her cellar, said they had seen such